Hello, good afternoon. My name is Raymond Ng, the Director of Education here at Monteca International Play School. Today is May the 8th, 2020. And first of all, thank you for tuning in to this week's Parent Info Seminar. This is our part 2 of our Sensorial Learning. Okay, let's do a quick recap of our previous info session, which was on April 24th. We answered questions such as what is sensorial learning, what is the best age group for sensorial learning, what are the benefits of sensorial learning, and also what kind of materials we would use in a Montessori environment to do with sensorial learning. We talked about the biggest difference between Montessori schools and daycares, which is the materials versus toys. We also talked about the sensitive period for a child to be very sensitive towards sensory learning is between 2 to 6. And we also talked about using the senses to connect to all the other different subject areas in Montessori, such as language or math. Okay. Last week we discussed the materials that stimulates the visual sense. This week we're going to be moving on with the other senses. We want to start off today with sort of a tactile, the tactile sense, the feeling of touch. Okay, what you can experience when you're holding something. It could be rough, it could be smooth, it could be hot, cold, etc. And we have to understand that the sense of touch is actually the biggest sort of sense in our body because it spreads all over our body. Every time we touch something, we can feel it. So the Montessori approach focuses towards concentrating through a very small part of your body only, which is your fingertips. Okay. So for this sense, I want to demonstrate a material to you. Which we have at the school over here. So you can see this is a box of and this is the box of fabrics. Okay, drop that. As you can see, there are different types of fabrics in here. Okay, just showing you different pieces of the fabrics that you'll be able to see in this box. I don't know if you can see it through the camera, but the texture of these fabric are all different. And there's 2 of each in here. Okay. Okay, you can sort of see the grains on the fabric that will give you a different sort of touch. Okay, so in a prepared environment such as ours, we would like to say, of course, these fabrics should be hemmed, they should be clean, and they should be well pressed. Okay, they shouldn't be creased or anything. It should look appealing to the children to give them a sense of cleanliness, a sense of order. Okay, so the way we use these materials is because they're pairs, so we'll first ask the child to sort of feel it themselves, feel the texture and see how what kind of tactile feedback they get from it, and then we'll move on to a matching exercise activity where they're blindfolded, so they can only use their sense of touch to match the same feeling of the fabrics. Okay. So that's the fabric box. Another one that I would like to share with you today is actually one that is for the infants, the younger ages. Our staff actually made it. Okay, we just call this a sensory frame. So basically, it's just a frame where they can just feel. In this case, they're sort of like tiles. Okay, so they're just feeling this. Okay. And it's really just to allow them to explore different types of surfaces. We also have ones that are made with sponges, sandpaper, and such. Okay, so that's for the sense of touch. Okay, and then we move on to the auditory, which is all about hearing and listening. Throughout these activities in auditory, they learn to discriminate between different sounds. They also learn vocabulary such as louder, softer, and also this type of activity will allow them to refine and become more sensitive to sounds in their environment. Okay. Today we have another material to show you. This is actually a whole set. So we made these ourselves. The shakers, okay? The shakers, 2 sets of shakers, okay? So let me see if you can hear the sound of this. This is a very soft sound, so you might not be able to hear it properly, whereas compared to some of these shakers, you'll get that bigger sound. This one's a bit softer as well. And the activity here is to, of course, match the sounds. There, as you can see from the demonstration, there are ones that are labeled red and one that are labeled blue, and they're just matching the sounds. Okay, so this is purely based on using their listening sense. In regards to smell and taste, we don't actually have the material here yet. Essentially, they're just bottles, and for the smell activities, we have the smell bottles, which are just bottles similar to what you would see in like a shaker, except there would be a cotton ball in there that's moistened with a substance that has different odors. Okay, and for the taste, we actually have a set of taste jars, but unfortunately one broke, so we're replacing that right now. And of course, in our Montessori theory, we do not give out we don't put out the activity unless it's in a complete set, right? So right now I don't have that one to show you, but it's essentially the same thing as well. There are different materials in the jars itself to represent the 4 fundamental tastes, which is salt. Okay, the saltiness, okay, we would put salt and water in them. The sweet one, we would put sugar and water. The bitter jar would be, we would put tonic water. And the 4th one would be the sourness, which would be lemon and water. Okay, so all of these materials, as discussed throughout the past 2 seminars, they all require really hands-on experience. It requires them to actually try them out themselves, and it's not possible at all to just read or talk about these feelings. They have to actually have their hands on it or feel it with their senses. So the manipulation of the objects really help the children understand everything in their environment as well. The materials, of course, follow the same requirements as any other subjects, okay? First of all, they isolate the quality to focus on. So for example, the sensory, the fabric box that I showed you earlier on, this focuses purely on touch, okay? Everything is in white, it should be in the same color. They shouldn't have to be distracted by anything else. Okay, all of these have a control of error. We talked about control of error before. Control of error meaning that the child will automatically be able to correct themselves if something does not match, per se. Okay, they're all aesthetically pleasing. Okay, and this is to attract the children's attention, to make sure it keeps their interest. So when they're roaming around the classroom, they know where to go because they go to where it interests them. Okay, and of course, just like what I mentioned about the taste jars, it has to be a complete set. Okay, no time should be wasted during an activity for the child to be looking for missing pieces. Okay, so that's about all for this week, and that concludes our 2-part sensorial learning seminar. Okay, again, questions or comments can always be sent to us, and we will answer all the questions that you leave as a message or you send to us. Okay, next week we have a more fun topic, I guess you can say, and it's to do with reading. Okay, we're going to be talking about the different techniques of reading to your child, the do's and don'ts. Okay, if you have followed our Facebook and Instagram for news, promotions, and updates, then you will be reminded this week that our classes have already resumed since Monday. Enrollment has begun again, and so far it's been a pretty busy week for us. We have quite a few classes going on in the morning, and getting into that routine again. The class sizes have been reduced temporarily just to observe the social distancing component. Okay. Obviously, our sanitization and hygiene protocols are in place, and we have upcoming programs such as the Kids Kitchen, which is open for enrollment as well. Okay. In addition, this week we also started a new initiative on Wednesday. It's called the Montessori Web. It's a trial program for now, and it's also free of charge for now. And let us know what kind of feedback you have in regards to those programs. They're hosted by our AMI directress, Miss Shalina, okay, and it goes on live every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Okay. Last but not least, we have also uploaded all our videos to our YouTube channels. Okay, all our seminars, all our cooking videos and such, all to our YouTube channel. Okay, so make sure you subscribe to that as well. All you have to do is go to YouTube and search Monteca International Play School, and you'll see us right there. Okay, so until next week, my name is Raymond Ng, the Director of Education here at Monteca International Play School, and have a great weekend.